Okay folks, here are two very popular 22s. Hopefully maybe you guys can also look and see. I just did a impression video about the Ruger 1022, and the second video I'm going to do is going to talk about the Marlin Model 60. Okay, and so I'm also going to do another video comparing the two back and forth, side by side, and taking a look at them and so forth. But right now, let's just talk about the Ruger Model 60. Some of you who do watch my channel or have seen some of my videos may have actually seen me firing this at the range, and you can see some of the accuracy at the 25-yard mark and whatnot of this particular firearm right here. Now, this one is the the Marlin Model 60, and this one just so happens to be carrying the Leopold or Leupold, how that's pronounced. This is the 2x7 rim fire scope. I have a mosquito flying around that thing. Get away. Anyway, awesome scope and a vast difference than my Ruger carrying the Bushnell $25 to $30 scope on that thing. So big difference between those two rifles as far as what I have on them. As far as semi-automatic 22s, as an adult, this was the first semi-automatic 22 that I owned. I actually got this one before acquiring the Ruger 1022, even though the 1022, like I said in my last video, was the first rifle I ever owned, was the Ruger 1022. This one, to compare the two is really not fair because this one happens to be the deluxe model. This one is has a lot nicer stock on it. You can get the 1022 that way as well. You can go to Galleries and Guns and buy the Tallow edition and get that nicer stock on the 1022. But that particular 1022, when I saw it and was able to get it, it had the original stuff that I had when I was a kid when I first got that 1022. So that's why I wanted that one. This one happens to be the 50th anniversary edition. Okay, the Ruger 1022. It's really cool that I own this thing. I like it a lot, and it shoots very accurately. Please go back and take a look at that video. What I like and what I don't like about this particular firearm. Well, I like the way, let's go over what I like first and what I don't like later. So what I like about it is its aesthetics. I like the way that it looks. I like the grip, and I like the checkering. The checkering on these Marlins are fantastic. The wood that's on this deluxe edition is also just incredible. You can get the deluxe edition, or you can get the regular Marlin Model 60. The Marlin 60, the regular one, just has a little downgraded stock, and that's really the only difference, really. The other thing that's really cool about this thing is the tube feed. I happen to enjoy a tube-fed rifle, and I like those. I kind of like lever actions as well. I have a lot of lever actions, and I like the tube-fed rifle versus the magazine. The difference is that it basically limits you to how many rounds that you can load with a tube versus a magazine. Like, for example, the 1022, you can buy a 30 round, 50 round, and I think there even was at one time a 100 round magazine for it, which was quite a lot, and you can have a lot of fun with that. This one, you're limited to about 13 or 14 rounds of 22 long rifle, and it'll only shoot the 22 long rifle out of it. One thing that I use this rifle for, I actually use this rifle for hunting. I bought it for hunting. I put a nice scope on it for hunting, and this is my squirrel gun, and this is what I take out with me during squirrel season. However, I may take out the Ruger some this year. I may take out, I have a few other 22s that I may take out as well. It just depends on what I want to do. This one, in the contrast between the 1022 and this one, the Marlins come with an integrated rail system. I don't know if that shows up there, but those of you that don't know about the Marlins, the top of the receiver is the scope rail. Now you may notice that, like right here, you see some scratches and stuff like that. It's because I had bought some rings, and actually they were millet rings, and I was out hunting squirrels, and I missed, and I should have hit it. I should have hit the squirrel, but I missed, and I found out that my rings were stripped, and basically the scope fell off the back of the rifle. And what happened is I bought this nice 50th anniversary edition, and it scratched the hell out of the top of the receiver, and I basically used one of those bluing pins to kind of fix that up. But regardless, I was really upset about that, and then I basically got new rings. And I think these are traditions. The other rings that I had problems with were actually millet rings that had stripped out. And millet is supposed to make a nice ring, but these are actually traditions, which is a lot cheaper ring made for the .22 caliber that fit on top of this. And like I said, I just used a pin to get that on there. Now, this is pretty solid. It's on there fairly well, even though this ring is near the back of that. And with that being said, all that talk, basically that's the downside of the Marlins, is that I don't necessarily care for the integrated top system. If I want to be able to take the scope off and use iron sights, I want to be able to do that and still have the gun look like it's in pristine condition. And you just really can't do that with the Marlins. And that would account for the 795 or the Marlin 60. It will end up putting some sort of mark or scratch right there. Now, the Rugers, like I said in my previous video, they actually come with a mounting rail that you can actually mount to it. Now, there are no mounting screws or anything with this. You basically just have to mount it directly on top of the receiver. And that's what I don't like about it. Like I said, there's a lot of good things about it and a lot of bad things about it. The best thing about it is you can get these things relatively inexpensive. One thing that I really enjoy about .22s in general is that the .22s are cheap, and they're cheap to shoot, and they're cheap to purchase and trade and do what you like to do with them. I think a Marlin 60 actually runs, get that mosquito, actually runs in the ballpark around $160 brand new, depending on the version you get. If you get a deluxe edition, it may run you close to $200 or $210 or $190, I'm not quite sure. Even the 1022s will run anywhere from $190 to, say, $240 for their base model. So, relatively inexpensive firearm to shoot and a relatively inexpensive firearm to own. And you can, just because it's a .22 doesn't mean you want to beat the crap out of it. You want to actually take care of it and stuff like that, and treat it just like you would your nice, multi-$100 firearm that you have. So, this is, like I said, this is meant to be, what I like and what I don't like about it. Go look at my video of me shooting this. This is actually a lot of fun to shoot. If you were going to get a .22 and you're going to use it for hunting and you wanted a semi-automatic, the two that I would recommend would be either the Marlin 795 or the Marlin Model 60. And it just depends on if you want a tube-fed rifle like this one here, or if you want a magazine-fed rifle, which is the Marlin 795. Same action, just one's tube-fed and one is magazine-fed. So, anyway, those of you that own a Marlin Model 60, why don't you write me back or comment, tell me some of your experiences you have on it. Let me know what you like and what you don't like, and maybe we can start a little discussion on this video, on a response of this video here. Other than that, that's about it. That's all I'm going to say. I said I like it. It's one of my favorite. It doesn't necessarily hold a special place in my heart like the Ruger 1022 does, just because that was my first. But my favorite .22, one of my favorite .22s that I own today is this one right here. All right, you guys take care, and stay tuned for the video to compare the two. Bye.